Hi everyone, it's Matt Riley at First National Bank and Trust. Today I want to talk about something that's a little bit more fun. It's about putting your financial rules on a note card. So if you haven't heard of Harold Pollack, he is a professor up in Chicago, and he first did this a few years ago as a joke. He said, you can put all your financial rules onto a note card, and then people call them out. They said, hey, where's the note card? And he actually had to do it. So since then, he has made his note card, and he has had a couple iterations of the note card as well. So that's for today. Here's my iteration of Harold Pollack's note card as well. So he had originally 9 rules. I have 8. So I literally have my note card here. What I would suggest is you take a note card, and you can either write these down, write down your own, or go on the internet and look up someone else's rules. But it's important, and then you can hang it up on the fridge and always look at it. So to get started, my first rule is max out your retirement savings, or at least save enough to get that full match. So you'll see a theme through all of these where I make them more broad than the original iteration was many years ago, where I make exceptions. So I don't want to always make exceptions, but not everyone is in the same financial ability or point in their life. So with this one, if you are able, you should be maxing out your retirement savings. However, if you are not, like most of us probably aren't, you want to at least get that full match. So an example of this would be if you have a retirement plan through your employer. So if they have a 403B or a 401k, then if, let's say, they match dollar for dollar up to 4%, that means you should at minimum be giving 4%. That way your 4 and their 4 equals 8. So every paycheck, 8% is going into your retirement plan. So that's at minimum what you want to do, which goes into my second goal of save at least 15% of your gross income. So ideally, once again, this is you saving 15% of your money. However, we can make some exceptions here. If you have that 4%, your employer has that 4%, that's 8%, you're missing 7. So sometimes not all of 15 has to come from you, and not all of 15 has to go into retirement accounts. So ideally, it would if you're maxing out especially, but if you need to still set up your rainy day fund, you need an emergency fund for 4 to 6 months living or anything like that, you can put some into your savings and then the rest of it into retirement or something like that. So number 3, stay away from bad debt. So you'll see a lot of these points have similar themes, so we'll come back to this one later on as well. But bad debt being, think about credit cards, something with either variable interest rates or very high fixed interest rates. So another example could be you went out and bought a new appliance. So if you bought a fridge, you have 0% financing for 12 months. Make sure you pay it off in that 12 months. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but once you go past that 12 months, all that interest has accrued, and that $500 fridge is now $600 or whatever it might have been. It's going to be more if you don't pay it off in the time you need to. So try to avoid that bad debt. Number 4, ignore the markets, economy, and your portfolio value in the short term. So I say short term here. If you're watching the news or you're watching your accounts heavily and over the past month you don't like what you're seeing, but it's all short term, don't let that change your plan. So you should make some type of a plan or meet with an advisor to create that plan, but stick to that plan. Now, if you hear something on the news or something's happening that's going to be a very long-term impact, then you can look at a plan, adjust it, but don't let these short-term impacts change what you need to do for the long run. Number 5, automate good behaviors. So we're talking about paying off debt or paying yourself. So if you have monthly bills, set them up to come out of your checking automatically to where you don't have to think about paying them. They'll do it, and then you know it's done. You know there's not going to be a late fee or anything like that. Likewise, set up paying yourself. Automatically put that 15% away into your retirement account or savings account. Do this so you don't have to think about it. It just happens, and you have peace of mind with it. Number 6, I have don't time investments dollar cost average. So ideally, we want to buy low, sell high, but if anyone has done this, they've most likely done it in the short term, and they most likely have not been able to keep it year after year. So I would say dollar cost averaging is a very good way in order to put your money aside into investments, not think about them, not worry about them. So going back to that 4% you put in, 4% your employer does, that 8% each paycheck gets put in no matter what the market's doing. So if the market's down, you're able to buy a little bit more of the shares. If the market's up, you're able to buy a little less. But either way, that 8% is going in and you don't have to think about it. This is a very sound strategy. Number 7, I have pay your credit card balance in full each month. So just back to that bad debt, don't carry it. Just going a step further here of just go ahead and pay it off. Maybe set this up as one of those reoccurring, no matter what, it's paid in full out of your checking if you can handle it. Obviously, not everyone's in the same life circumstances. So if you're still trying to work on paying down your debt, get it into a good situation. Once you are able, then set it up to where it's always paid off automatically. It's not something that you want held over your head. 8, my last point here on my card is make your financial advisor commit to the fiduciary standard. So fiduciary standard, so being a fiduciary means that you legally look out for another person's best interest. So in this aspect, your financial advisor would be looking out for their client or your best interest. So financial advisors come in all shapes and sizes, and they get their money in different ways. So some will get it from fees, just flat fees. Some will get it from assets. Some will get it from a mix. But either way, you want to make sure that the advice that you are getting in order to help your plan is actually the best advice for you. You don't want that advisor to be providing anything that they would be getting higher commission on if it's not better for you. You want to make sure that you have this conversation early in that relationship with them, and then you can move forward. So here at First National Bank and Trust, my title is Fiduciary Officer. So whether it's a client or just someone in the community that I'm working with, either way, I personally look out for their best interest, no matter if they have business with me or not. I come upon myself to let them know up front, hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I believe it is best for you. And sometimes I don't get anything for it, and sometimes it's just the flat fee. But no matter what happens with your advisor, have that conversation. And I would say, lastly, I guess I should have a 9th point on here, would be fill out a note card. Hang it on your fridge. Figure out what your rules want to be. They can be these rules. You can look up your own rules, make your own rules, whatever. But follow something in order to help you stick to it for your financial future.